making, because the sun is out and it is really shiny and nice, and that's hot for some reason, I don't know why. Stay at me, I just come back from walking the dog. I look like a bird's flown through my blooming hair. Right, so I've got a pan on here. Let me take that off a minute. I haven't told you what I'm going to make, have I? I'm going to make a salmon and rice. Because the sun's out and it's sort of it's feeling really summery and springy and really nice. I thought I'd do some salmon for tea, so it's a bit lighter than all these heavy meals we've been having. So I have got in my pan 1 inch of boiling water, and I'm just bringing it up to the boil, and in that I'm going to add my rice. So, I mean, I can judge it, I know how much I want, but generally a cup per person. And I'm also going to add some frozen mixed vegetables, because I'm going to do like a mixed veg rice. So I've got carrots, beans, peas and sweet corn. You don't want too much, that's plenty. Then I'm going to give it 1 stir. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to let that come up to the boil, back up to the boil. And I'm going to let it cook for as long as I can, for at least a minute without it boiling over, and then I will turn it off. Does anybody else use pegs for their frozen vegetables and things? I keep thinking I must get some of those things. Freezer clippy things. Anyway, so my rice is on. I've got my crappy old lovable pan that I love. Look at the state of it. I've fry lighted it, and I am going to, I'll put it there, you can see, can't you? I'm going to add my salmon. Now I'm using frozen salmon from Tesco's, and you get 4 bits in a pack like this, and you can, it's skinless, and you can cook it straight from frozen. So I'm popping those fillets of salmon straight into my oiled pan there, which I've got on high at the moment. Now once that's started to heat up, I'm then going to add some soy sauce, some ginger and some garlic. So that's now boiling. This is my pan for my with my rice, and you can see it's boiling. I can hear it. It's quite ferocious now. So I'm going to leave it just for 30 seconds or so, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it off. I'm not removing the lid at all throughout the whole cooking process, and I'm going to leave it on the heat of the ring, although the ring is turned off, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to switch it off now, but I'm going to still leave it alone. I'm not going to touch it, and I'm going to leave the lid on. If anybody comes along and takes your lid off, slap their hand, because you want that steam in there to be retained, because that is what's cooking your rice from now on, in the heat of that water. Also, you don't want a pan with a hole in the lid. It won't work. Okay? You need a pan lid with no hole in it. I've got a couple and they've got like a hole in, and no, that's no good. It's got to have a holeless lid. Right, so to my salmon, I am going to be adding some ginger and some garlic. So I have got 4 cloves of garlic, which I'm going to add now. And I've got a huge piece of ginger. I mean, obviously not going to use that much, but I've got some ginger, fresh ginger. Put that in the wrong way round. That's better. I mean, you can buy this easy ginger and garlic in a jar, which is pretty good. I have used it. So that's that. And also you've got your fresh ginger that I'm using anyway. What I'm going to do, a little trick I learned, get a spoon And rather than try to peel all this off and end up with the tiniest bit of ginger, I am going to just get my teaspoon and I'm just pulling it down over the skin of the ginger, which is so soft it literally just falls off. I think it's brilliant. There we go. And I must admit, I do prefer shredded ginger to sliced, if you know what I mean. You know, sometimes you slice it into tiny little bits. I do prefer it to be shredded. I don't like getting a great big mouthful of ginger. So I'm going to do it on the small one, and I'm just going to grate in about ½ inch of ginger. And then I'm going to turn this down because it's going to be a bit too high otherwise. So I'm going to turn that down to 3. Was on 6 just to get it going. There we go. So that's my ginger. Then I've got half a red chilli, which I have de-seeded and chopped small. Pop that in there. Just going to get rid of this rubbish. And then I've got a lime, which if you give it a good squeeze before you cut it, or give it a good roll, it's easier to juice. Because otherwise they're quite hard. They are quite hard. And I'm just going to give that a squeezed lime. Did I say lime? Lime in there. I'm going to add some soy sauce, light soy sauce, fair bit of soy sauce, good old glug. And I'm just going to let that cook down a little bit in the chilli and the soy sauce, the ginger and the garlic. So I'm just going to keep my eye on it, and then when it needs it I'll turn the salmon over, flip it over. Still got my rice on the go, which I'm leaving well alone. That needs to be left alone for at least 20 minutes. Okay, so I'll come back to you in a minute. So I've turned my salmon over. There we go. And I'm just about to add a teaspoon of sugar in there, and that's just gonna counteract that soy and give it a little bit of sweetness. Not too much, you won't really taste it, but yeah, to the sauce. Then I'm going to add in my peppers and my mushrooms on top of my salmon. And I can continue cooking until they all get nice and soft and the fish is cooked through. So it shouldn't take too long. And I'm just going to put a lid on that. There we go, and I'll be back in a minute. So I've just got the last of my ingredients to go in really. So my fish is cooked down nicely, as is my peppers and my mushrooms. My peppers could do with a little bit longer. What I'm now going to add though is some bean sprouts, just a few. Just going to sprinkle them on. That's plenty. And I've got a little bit of pak choy left over from the other night, so I'm just going to put some of that on. Just a little bit. Then I'm going to put a little bit of lime, the other half, on top. I've got a little bit of coriander, so I've got about half of it on top of there. And then put the lid back on. And I'm going to let that cook down again for about 5 minutes, and then I think I will check my rice, and I think we're probably going to be good to go. So I'll see you in a minute. I'll be back in a minute. That was Jason. Popped in. Oh. Anyway, so I'm going to dish up. So, rice, what does it look like? It looks like that. So, how about that? As you can see, there's loads of rice there. We're not going to eat all this rice. It's a ridiculous amount of rice. But we will eat it tomorrow. So, it's all, as you can see, it's not all sloppy. All that water has all been absorbed. So all you need to do is take the lid off and give it a stir with a fork, just to fluff it all up. And you've got yourself a nice little savoury, vegetable savoury rice. So I'm going to put some of that on the plate. There we go. I could be really fancy and put it in a bowl, you know, and have it like, I can't be arsed though. I'm hungry, I need to eat. So, there's my rice. Let's get my fish. I've got my wilted pak choy. Oh, I need to do this over here. So let's put my wilted pak choy on. Squeeze fingers. And I've got my salmon. Another piece of salmon going on. And I'll just grab some of these vegetables. Pop those on. And there we have it, pretty much. I'm just going to grab some of these mushrooms because they seem to have gone on that side. Put them on. I'm just going to get a spoon and spoon on some of these soy sauce juices. And then finally, let's put the lid on that, keep that warm. I will give my salmon a little blast of the lime, little sprinkling of coriander, and I've got in the cupboard, only because I've got it, some sesame seeds, which I will just give a little sprinkle onto my salmon. And there we have it. Salmon and savoury rice. Anyway, I hope you give this a go. There's not many sins in this. I mean, there's a few sins in the soy sauce. But other than that, it's pretty good for you. There's lots of speed in there and stuff. And yeah, it's a nice light dinner. So yeah, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And give it a try, and I'll catch you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.